Now, since it's Women's History Month, I wanted to talk about one of the most powerful, the most beautiful, and one of the most terrifying queens in all of African history. What up, African world? It's your boy Home Team here. I'm back at it with another video of African history, culture, and world review. And today I want to talk about Queen ARAWEELO of Somalia. Now, Somalia is often called the Horn of Africa, literally and symbolically. You see, the horn of any animal represents its strength and even its determination. And Somalians gloriously exhibit that reality, especially their women. Now, Somalians have a very unique history stemming from the land of Punt all the way to the Ajuran Empire when they successfully engaged the Portuguese in naval warfare. Even the ancient Egyptians seem to have a very special relationship with Somalia. At times, they would even refer to the region of Somalia as Tanejer, meaning God's land or land of God. It's really no wonder at all that Queen ARAWEELO became a legend in African history. Queen ARAWEELO was a Somali queen in 15 AD. Her father apparently had 3 daughters, in which she was the oldest of the 3, making her the heir to the throne. Now, throughout her life, Queen ARAWEELO fought to empower women all the time, because in this particular region in Africa, these Africans did not advance a matriarchal societal structure. ARAWEELO was wary of this male-dominated societal structure and vehemently opposed it. Now, there were many females throughout African history that empowered women, but Queen ARAWEELO was one of the first. And because she was one of the founding mothers, this shows her bravery and determination. Queen ARAWEELO helped to pioneer a new culture of female agency and was a symbol of hope not only for African women, but for women all over the world. Now, Somali poets hail Queen ARAWEELO as being a beautiful woman with tremendous self-confidence. However, despite her beautiful appearance, she was well known to have pretty much castrated 90% of the males in her region. Now, honestly, as a male, upon hearing this, I was immediately struck with fear and terror just at the mere thought of this. But at the same time, I actually gained a whole lot of respect for Somali men because of what you guys went through so many years ago. I salute you. You guys are the product of survivors. Sorry, ladies, I had to throw that in there. Now, the way in which ARAWEELO came to power and actually maintained her rule was actually pretty interesting. Apparently, Queen ARAWEELO was dissatisfied with the distribution of labor between men and women because she pretty much felt that women were subjected to male servitude. So she went to her fellow Somali women and started the greatest feminist movement in African history that African men have never forgotten. She pretty much told these African women that since we give birth to men, we are way better qualified to rule than them. The women led by ARAWEELO seized all the weapons and castrated most of the men in the region. Very few men were actually saved to be eunuchs because, they needed them for procreation. Queen ARAWEELO demanded that Somali women abandon their womanly roles in society and start hanging men by their testicles. She is believed to have said, and I'll quote, "We are more accommodating, more peaceful, and more practical than men." Newborn baby girls were celebrated and championed throughout this new Somali culture, while male children were castrated on sight, except for a few, blessed few, that were needed for the survival of mankind. Now, according to the legend, Queen ARAWEELO had a daughter that fell in love with a man named Ode Beek, and his name literally translates to the wise coward. I mean, can we really blame him though? He lived in one of the worst regions for a man, and the queen's daughter was in love with you. And because of this forbidden love, he was imprisoned. But he eventually escaped into the wilderness, where Queen ARAWEELO's daughter actually found him. No, the guy couldn't win. Queen ARAWEELO's daughter eventually had a son with the man, and following Queen ARAWEELO's tradition, she wanted to castrate him. But her daughter actually convinced her to wait until her son was older. However, when the boy got older, he took the initiative and killed Queen ARAWEELO. According to legend, before Queen ARAWEELO died, she had this to say concerning all women. She said, and I quote, "Never have confidence in any man." Now, some Somalians believe that Queen ARAWEELO was buried in Senag, and that some men throw rocks at her grave, while other females just throw flowers. Sometimes in Somali culture, Somali girls are called ARAWEELO jokingly if they're overconfident. And some Somalians even name their daughter ARAWEELO in honor of the queen. So Queen ARAWEELO is a very popular and sometimes even controversial figure in Somali history. But she is no doubt a symbol of strength for not only Somali women, but for African women all over the world. Speaking of symbols, the home team Nubian Queen snapback is a symbol of strength of African people all over the world. It's a Pan-African model. You guys can go check it out in the link below. It's your boy, home team. Know thyself. Remember your ancestors. Peace.